Next slide, Dee. I'm here today. I'm your host, Kathy Wolf, and I'm here today with Sandra Gladney, who many of you may recognize the name because she's been on a lot of our webinars and she's been a participant, and she is one of those brave people who responded to the call to sign up, to do one herself. So she is here today with me to offer communication skills for parents, planting the seeds in your children's garden. And we're delighted to have her. Welcome, Sandra. She's going to say a little bit more about herself as we go on. But before we get started, just want to remind people about the ways to engage. There are two main ways. One is the chat, and you've been using that. If you direct it to all panelists and attendees, that's best because that means that people don't have to depend only on me reading it to see what you've said. And the second way is to raise your hand. If you raise your hand, Dee Yin from Be Strong Families will unmute you. Then you'll need to unmute yourself, and then you'll be able to speak. So we have a lot of content today. We have agreements whenever Be Strong Families does anything, and these are our agreements. So if you agree with these agreements, if you could write "I agree" in the chat. And just so you know, this is us recognizing that we couldn't do this without you, and that it's all of us together that create this magic safe space for us to learn and grow and get the whatever we're looking to get out of this hour that we spend together. So thank you for everybody for agreeing. And without further ado, at 12:02, I'm going to turn it over to Sandra.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. I just want to welcome people that is out here from so many different places. This is a pleasure. I want to thank Kathy, one of my first times doing this. So thank you, Kathy. This came to me, like it says, it's called Planting Seeds in Your Gardens by me. And as you see, that's me and my children and my grandchildren. And I'm a single parent of 3 adult children now, 5 grandchildren. And this just came about I've been working in the mental health field as a parent advocate, parent partner since 2008. Also in the ministry now. My life has been truly changed around from running with gangs and different things. And that was my background. But God has truly changed my life into the woman that I am today, and with my children. And that's just who I am. And I'm gonna go more because part of this is talking about my family story, and you will learn more about me then. So just welcome. So this will be talking about a personal garden, planting seeds in your garden, in your children.
Okay. Next slide, Dee.
I can't really see it. Can you make it a little clear?
Ooh, it's very clear for me. So I think it might be your computer, but I can read it for you, Sandra. And
okay.
Then the clear ones. Sandra's saying the objective is you are the seed you plant. How you water is how your tree grows. An apple tree will not produce oranges. An orange tree will not produce apples. You should be the tree you want to grow, and you can always replant a garden that did not have strong roots. Wait, people are saying it's very blurry and fuzzy, Dee? So it's not just with Sandra. I don't know what's going, now it's fuzzy for me too.
For for everybody's internet to catch up, but I will make sure the next few slides, the text sizes are bigger.
Oh, okay.
It just got blurry all of a sudden for me. I mean, it was straight and then now it's blurry.
Well, I'm glad if it is you reading it for me, but this is just the objective is just like you said, the way we plant our gardens. You never seen planting an apple tree grows oranges and vice versa. So this is just objective is how we plant with our children, the type of characters and different things that we set in their lives as us being the examples. And that's where I got that from. Even in the spiritual realm is very important. We working in a field today. Most of us, or a lot of us in the mental health field, we see our children that are very angry, that has a lot of underlying needs. And sometimes parents unintentionally unaware because some of the things that we've been through. And so it's very important how to learn how to plant the garden that you want. You have to be that seed in the way you plant it. So that's our objective today. So you have to be that tree that you want branches on.
Next slide, Dee.
Next. Okay, this is, and we talking about how to plant and water these seeds. It says parent planting seeds. What you say, what you do is very important. A lot of times parents don't understand, even the time when you find out that you are pregnant with your child, that child starts to learn from that time, from that moment. So we got to be careful what we say, what we do. You know, a lot of times people think, you know, kids learn more about examples. We can say, you know, most time of us as parents, we might tell our children a habit, like if we got drinks and things in our hand and we teaching them drinking is bad and they looking at, so they get confused. So we got to be very careful what they hear, what they see, you know, and different things. So this is very important. These are things that I didn't understand when I had my children. I was a young mother, you know. I didn't get that. You know, you might hear, you know, people say when you're pregnant, you know, read to your stomach and the music you listen to. We don't even understand how important that is today. And a lot of our children growing up, babies having babies and different things. And this is very important because we see a lot of criminals that come from the inner city and what's going on today. So this is why I do this. So I'm teaching parents now, even myself, the importance of things we say, the things we do. That's still planting that seed in our garden. So, wow. And this is where I just wanted to get into. I talked about bits and pieces. This is my family story. And then you might see, when you look at this family story, there's nothing good to look at on this story. I learned I'm not ashamed no more. I'm not embarrassed. I'm not any of those things to tell this family story. It was a time I wasn't able to do that. But when you get delivered from things, you're able to do it. And I realized things you go through to help somebody else. And so my family story was, like I said earlier, I had my first child. I was 17 when I got pregnant. I had her at 18. And I had her by, their father was a hardcore gang member. He was a hardcore gang member himself, but I didn't understand that. I love that man. I understood, but it was some things that was going on with me when I was younger, but I did not understand what the cost will be later. I didn't just have one, I had two, just not my family story. It was just many different things going on, which led into gangs. It was substance abuse, violence, teen pregnancy, disrespect, and prison. But that's the way I grew up, which I thought it was normal. It was because I grew up, my family was loving and different things, but was our life as growing up. This was the story that people try to keep it a secret. And what happens is this was the seed that was planted for me, and I cultivated and I planted, not intentionally, not trying to do it, you know, and not understanding, which it cost, you know, my kid's father, it cost his life. My son is in prison today. My daughter did join a gang, and many family members that I even have on here. This has been our family. I'm not gonna say it's not a legacy. It's just been part of our family, the tree that was grown. And I was just wondering, wow, why is this going on? But as I started to get older, running the streets and doing different things, that's why I said my daughter was, she was a handful since a baby. She was a handful that I didn't understand. I didn't even realize that was me, in a sense, planting some seeds in her to be disrespectful, to join a gang, to drop out of school and different things. And I'm saying that today because at the end, it didn't end this way, but was my beginning. You know, especially our gang culture, it ran rapid in our family. And it's still running rapid. You know, people don't want to talk about that, but I had to stop and understand what is going on here. what is happening? How is this going on in our family? Because I felt, and I still do, you know, coming from this loving family, we was together, but there was things going on, and I learned about underlying needs today, and I learned about trauma focus. We didn't even realize we was in trauma, or seeing the killing, the drugs and the death. That was a normal way of living, you know, uncles on substance abuse and different things, and it was bad. Domestic violence and different things. And so that was just the way we grew up in our family story, why I do this today. And I know all of us have a family story, and people get embarrassed. And that was one of the things that helped this grow, because I was too ashamed. I was too embarrassed to get help, didn't even seek for help. Who want people to know that their kids are going that route or doing those things? But I found out people gonna find out anyway, because when my son went to prison at 19 and they gave him 25 years, you can't imagine. I took that responsibility. And parents, we have to learn to take responsibility. We have to learn to say, I was wrong, son, daughter, or I messed up, or whatever they need to be, and learn that that type of trauma when their father was killed, I didn't see them needing help, because that was something that was going on all the time. And we have to learn that these are seeds, and you probably say what they got to do. These are seeds that was being planted from day one. That anger that was growing up in my children, that hurt, that pain, it led them to a place that I never thought. Not just them, like I said, many family members, growing up with a lot of different things, and that's part of my life. And changed today. Never thought I would be in the ministry. Never thought I would get over it. Never thought living through it. And so I'm helping families today to if you know, with young kids, we in this pandemic today, I'm hearing so many parents overwhelmed. My kids home all day. This is your opportunity to really impact their lives. Do the best you can, because they're not going to stay 5. They're not going to stay 2. They grow up, and you'd be amazed when I hear parents say, I didn't know they were seeing that or hearing that. Kids hear, they see. Believe it or not, what you think they're not hearing, what you think they're not seeing, they do. They do. And these are seeds. I'm not talking about perfect parents. I'm not talking about parents that we're not going to make mistakes, because we don't know all the answers. But I'm coming back to give back, not ashamed. This part of my family, and I'm thanking God today. Quite a few of them probably on here today is joining me today, and we have had a lot of hurts, a lot of pains, a lot of deaths, a lot of killings, and I'm trying to stop that genocide by teaching how to replant. If we messed up, don't feel bad. If your child, if they 2, if you see these signs at 2, you see them at 3, you see them at 4, ask somebody to help. It's not taking away that you're a bad parent. That's a great parent when you want to go and say, you know what? I need some support. I need some help. Because let me tell you, when that tree start growing, every year you see things in your child, and be careful. That's why I said, if you cursing your child out, you hear the story, you calling them names, you saying this, remember, those are the seeds you planted. You know, we can remember things negative more than we can remember things that positive. If somebody tell their child, you ugly, or you this, I don't care how many times someone might come and say how pretty you are, that child mind will go that I'm ugly. So these are the seeds that we got to understand what we planted in the ground, those roots, so we can break. So I just wanted just to say that, and thank everybody for sharing and writing in. So I thank you. So we can go to the next slide. And this one is just some questions, some interaction. I like interaction. What character would you want to see grow on your tree? And I put some examples down there. And I use the word characters because the characters is who you are. You're not your name. My name is Sandra, but that's not who I am. You know, my characters is who I am. Can I say that I'm some of these examples down there? Love, kindness, patience, meekness, and you know you. And when you realize who you are, because what I realized, my character had to change for my kids' characters had to change. And that's what I had to learn. And so I just wanted, this is that page, and I want you to think for a minute, because I want you to interact and just think about, if you got kids, if you don't have children, or you know somebody, what characters you want to grow on your tree. And I see some down here.
So we got patience. Morgan says patience. It's hard being patient with a 3-year-old. I would love to do better. That's the goal. Joy says joy. I was thinking when you said, what character do you want to grow on your tree? And you were really saying, like, how do you want to be? Who do you want to be?
Yes.
I was thinking openness, honesty, faith, joy, peace. Those are kinds of things for me. It can be more than one, I guess, is what I felt the invitation was. Sarah says patience and kindness. Danae says patience, joy, honesty, peace, love, kindness. Ria says trustworthiness. Christine says loyal, happiness, love, honesty. Maria says faith, joy, kindness, love. Islam says kindness, compassion, empathy, love, happiness, trust. Dorothy says patience, wisdom, love, understanding. So we've got a lot of beautiful people in this.
Yes.
Aspirations, I mean,
yes, those are some powerful characters. But when you look in the mirror, you say, am I those things? Or am I at least working on those things? Like someone said, they have a 3-year-old, they want more patience. That's what a 3-year-old would do. It will help you to gain patience. I always say in the spirit world, don't ask for these things, because when you ask for them, you asking for a trial. Just learn to work on them, and that's what it is. Think about when you was growing up. I don't know, you might have had the best parents, or you might just want some. What were some of the needs that you had that you wish your parents probably did or didn't do? Again, this is have nothing to do with bad parenting or nothing. This is just really learning, and I'm so glad to see some of those characters you want to grow on your tree and be that. And so just imagine, wow, if you see that, because you can see things in your kids. The old saying, we laugh when our 2-year-old do something wrong or curse somebody out. It's funny at 2, but it won't be funny later on. This one says, everyone, we've been talking about this, everyone has a need. Everyone, even us today. I don't know if anybody has married or have a significant other, whatever that is. Can you imagine if you want something from your husband, your wife, or whomever that is, for your birthday, and they forget about it? Oh, wow. We're not going to be happy, right? So that's a need that's not met. So you got to think about when children has the same needs that we have, even as adults. They just don't know how to express them like we do. And sometimes we haven't learned to express them. And that's why it's very important when they're small like that, you put all of these characters, or you start working on all these characters, because they come out. We see some 2-year-olds, they can get really vicious. They can get upset because there's something they want from somebody and their needs. So just think about, what need do you have right now today, with all this pandemic and things going on? There's needs. And I want to just put it in the chat room. You got a question, raise your hand, and just let us know right now when you sitting and thinking like, what do I need? Like this morning I got up, I said, I got to give me some breakfast before this started, because, oh no, because there was a need. I hear people say sometimes, I can't start my day without my coffee, because, wow, if I don't get it, I'm just not going to be a happy camper today, or whatever that is. So just imagine when your kids get up in the morning, when things happen, how do we help them to learn even that the needs that they have need to be met? What is that? I would see somebody, yeah, that's me, and different things. Because when I'm overwhelmed, have you had some days where you just don't want the phone to ring, you don't want to be bothered, and just because there's needs. So needs gonna always be there, but learning how to get them met, and that's what happened. That's what happened with us as adults. You see a lot of people depressed today. You see a lot of depression, even in adults. I'm talking about us as adults. Alcoholism, drug, because has been some needs that just wasn't met, and so I gotta find it, even if I don't want to feel it no more. Nobody likes to feel pain. Nobody likes to feel unwanted. Nobody likes to feel whatever that is uncomfortable for you. So we're gonna find things to replace that. need. And sometimes it can be something that's not healthy. And we can even tell negative, we heard this before, negative attention is better than none. It's because those are needs that's not met. When I learned that and studied that, I'm like, wow, it helped me understand how many plants that I didn't know how to put in my garden to make it look as pretty as I wanted to pretty be, because whoever heard of that when I was younger, needs not being met, kids crying too much. Shut up, we screaming and hollering instead of just trying to see what are they crying for. Some people I hear parents say they cry nothing, ain't nothing wrong with them. They just crying. Something is wrong. What's wrong with us when we are arguing and throwing tantrums when our husband don't do right, or when our wife don't do right, or our significant others, even our children, because something is not met? And so I just want you to think, so we got to put that in that garden. These are all the things you plant, you put in your gardens, how to handle a need that's not met. Okay. Go to the next one. And I wrote this, building a strong foundation. And these are just different characters again. And I wrote that story down there. Everybody, because I used to teach Head Start. I taught Head Start for many years. And when I taught Head Start, I love story time. And you think about these stories, building a strong foundation, story of the three little pigs. Look at those three houses. There's those three houses. You see only one standing. Because mother taught them, just, the story. Mother said, it's time. You guys growing up, it's time. But I want to make sure y'all know how to survive. You know how to build. But how did mother build? How did mother teach them? And then I know mother was teaching them right. Even though you do all the right things, say all the right things, it's about building that foundation. Well, sometimes kids might stray. They're going to want to do their own thing. But when you build a strong foundation, those roots, even though branches and stuff might come up, they will know how to come back together. And this is that story, because we all know as growing up, we're going to have some hardships. We're going to have some uncomfortable times. We're going to have all kind of tragedies. We in one today. But look at the stick house. Look at the straw house, and look at the brick house. Which one is still standing when the storm came? And the other two brothers, they run in. That's even about family, though. Even though they mess up or what happened, they're going to run to their brother's house or their sister's house. And that's what the three little pig story was about. It's like when the wolf came, mama was trying to tell them trouble coming. It's going to be some time coming. And that's even nurturing the kids. And that's what's building those plants too. Because when you build those plants and you plant those, we are a gardener. And when you start planting, and even like a real gardener, they plant seeds because they want a great harvest. They water, they nurture, they talk to them, they do all these things, and they believe, and they have the patience and all of these things. And just like that, because one day, even that's what they want. They want that strong brick house. So when the storm come and the rain come, they can go out there and say, look at everybody else's garden. It fell down. But I knew how to water. I knew how to nurture. And even if it's messed up, I know how to redo it. So be like that parent and just teach all the right things. Do all the right things to the best to your ability, not mine. But this is your opportune time, is to really start thinking, okay, what do I want in my garden? What do I want? Do I want love in my garden? Am I loving? Do I want to, know how to have time? Do I have time for others? Do I have time for my children? Or I'm too busy, or what? What do I want? Do I communicate with others? How do I communicate? Do I want that? Am I really patient? Even though I'm tired and might take a minute and ask for a minute, how is my patience? Is this short? When we work with families and we work with children, one of the questions we ask them, how quick is your temper? Are you easily angered? Or do it take a time? Do you believe whatever your goal is? Do you believe? And this is the opportunity. I know when we taught Head Start and kids would draw nice pictures, and we don't know what the picture was, but we made that child look, wow, that is, hang it on the wall. Parents coming in, what's that? And they don't even understand that's tear down their creativity. When not intentionally, when you say, boy, throw that mess in the trash, or girl, what is that picture? You supposed to hang that picture on the wall like it's something, put that smile on their face, because right there at 3 or 4, that's teaching them creativity. And this is a question I want you to answer. What does your child hear in your home? You can answer, you don't. What kind of words they hear? What do they hear when you are tired, when you come home? What do they hear even when you're happy? Not just all bad things. And I'm saying that, what do they hear? If you can just type in or wave your hand and want to say something, when you think about it, if you want to say that and be honest, what actually do they hear? When you're angry, when you're upset, even when you're happy, because these are the emotions. That's something we go over from 0 to 5 with children. What kind of things are you cursing them out? Or are you saying, you know, I worked all day? Oh my God, when you say that. So just imagine if someone would say those things to you. Just stop and think, say, when I come home from a hard day at work and my husband or my wife or my kids say something that I don't like, and how do you feel? Again, this is not our intention. It's the unintentionally things we do that really can hurt our children. So think about it. What do some of those things they hear? And you might say, but they hear it in the street. It's different than hearing things out the home than hearing in the home. Because what goes in the home can make a difference when I go out the home. So it's a big difference, because there's going to be a lot of things we hear in the streets, you know. So yes, think before you speak. You have to.
It's easy to say that, and it's like really, really hard to do it, right? Like, you know, like, yeah, I have good intentions always to think before I speak, but I remember like when I was younger and when when I was fighting with my ex-husband, my now ex-husband, um, I wasn't, I was in the moment and I was with him, and I wasn't as conscious of my son upstairs playing or my son, in the house. So I think that happens to a lot of parents. It's like you're in the moment and your emotions are high with the person that you're with.
Right.
And you're not being conscious of the kids and how they're experiencing it.
Right. You're not. And so that's very important. Don't think, and I'm so glad you brought that up, Kathy, don't think because you upstairs and your children downstairs, they can hear. They actually do, even though they don't say words. And then sometimes I when I used to work at the school and parents get called, I used to hear this a lot. I don't know where they get that from. I don't know. We never know. And I'm not saying that's not true, but I'm just saying we got to be careful. And these are so many teachable moments, because again, like I said, they are going to hear a lot of things out the home. This is why we got to teach them what is the right things to say. When I did go to teach Head Start, kids used to come to school and curse. I used to say, oh no, don't say that, that's bad. Or that's what in the 90s when I didn't understand it, something in the spirit stopped me one day and said, the kids probably don't know that's bad. You don't know if they hear that at home all day. And when you say that's bad, they looking at like, you saying my mommy's bad or my dad's bad. So I have to change it and say, let's talk about kind words. Let's talk about different, happy words. So I changed it because, I don't want the kids to go home and they confused now at 5, teachers saying that's not good or that's not right. And that's what I hear at home or in different things. So we have to, again, be very careful of that's a plant. That's what we're nurturing.
I remember when I was first in the Strengthening Families movement, Sandra, and I was talking to people in early childhood programs about teaching kids social emotional skills, right? So teaching them about use your words, teaching them about that hurts my feelings. And the story I remember really clearly was that this mother came storming into the Head Start program and she was really angry. And she was like, what are you teaching my kid? and they said, what do you mean? She said, well, yesterday she came home and she was like, she said to me, Mommy, you're hurting my feelings. And then when I was threatened to spank her, she said, use your words, not your hands.
Wow.
And I asked her, where did you get that from? And she said, I learned that in school. So it was like an opportunity for the, that dissonance for the child was an opportunity for the for all of them to get on one page in terms of what's happening. We got a lot in the chat, so I'll read some of the chat. It says, thank you. Thank you for the reminder of what does my child hear in my home. Think before we speak is so true. And Islam says, oftentimes when we're tired, when we finally see them in the afternoon, so they don't get the best of us. And Robin says, it's always a struggle, but the constant effort will eventually pay off when you become more aware of your own behaviors. And Christine says, what they hear, see, or think they don't hear or see. Thanks for this. And Joy says, my mom used to tell us words have molding power. Speak blessings on your children. I have lived to see the blessings on my kid. Thank God. And then Robin said, you're also teaching them to not make excuses for their inappropriate behavior. And Rhea is like, out of the mouths of babes.
Right.
So, you ready to go to the next slide, Sandra?
Yes. Yes. Okay. And this, even though we talk about here, I did the same thing to see. So it's totally two different things, you guys. Hearing and seeing is so different. And, you know, so we got to understand what our kids hear, they have to see the same thing. Let me say that again. If they hear, be kind, they looking to see you do that. Okay, so you have to be the examples. So that's why I put the word what they hear first, because you got to remember, we call it mixed messages. You can't give your kids mixed messages. And I hear people always say, but I'm grown. And I'm like, so what you're saying to me, when I'm 18, then I can curse people out. Then I can slap, then I can do that. Because you got to remember, this is what kids, how they interpret it. So we got to think, again, we planting the seeds, not for when they're kids, we planting seeds for when that tree grows up. Okay, so that's what we're planting. So what they see, be careful what they see. Children shouldn't have to see everything. It's not, and you know, I heard it all, you know, I'd rather for them to do it at home. I'd rather for them to see it at home than in the street. Really? So is this the seed you want to plant? This is what you want them to see? Do you want them to see you getting beat up, abuse, drugs in the house, and all these things are cursing out? What do you want them to see? What do you want? This is the plants you're planting. You know, I'm not telling you, you know, you going to say something, Kathy?
Well, I was just going to say, it's really struck me when you said, it's very deep to say, if you're teaching them that this is what you do when you grow up, like this is what it means when you grow up, like this is what you could, so you can slap and you can hit and you can overpower and you can and you can, you know, act this way when you're grown. If you act this way when you're a child, then I'm going to punish you. But that's what you can grow up into. And sometimes when we used to do a training, I remember we used to like say to people, you know, what behavior would you accept in a relationship? Like, or what do you think is respectful in a relationship?
Right.
Do you think it's respectful in a relationship with a peer, like with a friend or a coworker or a lover or a partner? Would you want to be hit? Would you want to be talked down to? Would you want to be yelled at? Would you want to be, and everybody says, no, 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 no. Then they say, okay, so why isn't the relationship with your child a relationship? You know, why is it okay to break those rules of respect with the child? Like, so, I mean, there's a bunch of things that Tracy said, when children are born, they come home and learn good and bad values. And when they start school, they find out that some of those values they learned aren't good. As a teacher, I shared with my high school students that for these next 40 minutes, we're going to not use curse words, and I'm not going to curse. This allows them to be able to create a different mindset. And Benita says, what kind of seed are we planted or have we planted? What kinds of are we planting, have we planted? But to think of it like, if you're whatever way you're acting in your home is what your children, the seeds you're planting for your children to act when they grow up.
Right. That's so important. Again, you know, we call it learned behavior. You know, there's a scripture says, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? So remember the foundation. Love, you know, we talk about love conquers all, and it does. But one thing about love is the ground. But we need the walls, we need the chimney, we need the roof, we need the furniture. So love is what you build on, again, like the three little pigs. So when the storm comes, You know, it might bend, just don't let it break. You know, so what you see, very important, very important. We can go to the next slide.
My mom used to had a
Oh,
poem. I remember it was hanging up in her house, and I thought it was kind of ironic because it said, "Children learn what they live." Have you seen that one?
yes,
That
they
poem?
do.
Like if a child
Yes,
lives with criticism, they learn to fear
yes,
them. If a child lives,
yes.
so
I tried to find them, but I couldn't. And this again goes with, you see the little bucket there. You're watering. You know, some water, some plant. But you know, we know there's an increase in what we water and what we're gonna plant. So what do you want to be increased? What do you want not to be increased? Uh, we plant the emotions. This is how we handle emotions and different things. And emotions is what we kind of is our fuel, how we live in the morning. I don't know if anybody ever felt that. It's times when I got up and I just didn't feel it. And one day I went to work, I just done anything because I wasn't feeling it. And the next day I said, why my coworkers didn't tell me how bad I looked? You know, because I wasn't feeling it. And we all have those days that we run off of emotion. Emotion is like gas to your car. It's days. Look at this pandemic. I don't know. It probably put people in all kind of emotions, you know, all the way around us. I don't even watch the news no more with all of that because it's put us in a place. And so I'm just saying again, we water kids' emotions. That's one of the biggest things we teach in Head Start is the emotions. Get the emotion wheel. Try that. The emotion wheel and teach that with kids. We all do. What makes you happy? What makes you sad? All of that, because this is something that's that watering, that's that planting. You see on there, planting empathy, planting forgiveness. You know, we try to plant, you know, on our tree. Is keep on getting what I said. Tree, look at your garden. One day when your kids grow up, you're gonna look at your garden and say, wow, what have I planted? What this is, you know, wow. Look, even if they stray, you planted a foundation. That's what you got to be proud of. When I lay down at night, and I used to lay down at night, I had a lot of guilt, because I said, wow, I took responsibility. You know, people say, but your son did that to go. But I had to take responsibility how I did some planning, you know, and different things, you know. So, you know, be careful how we watering, you know, just be careful. Keep watering. Okay. Next slide.
I was trying to find the link to the children learn what they live. I put it in the
Okay.
chat, but it's so long.
Yes. And these are some of the behaviors and that I do study. One of my greatest in my family might be tired of me because I talk about underlying needs all the time. When I learned that, it's like I found gold, you know, behaviors due to needs. And these are the needs on the side, and we know it's a lot more. It's a lot more, but these are some of the behaviors we might see. Um, Substance abuse. Anybody got? Listen, we family here, you guys. We know everybody got probably somebody, some kind of substance abuse. We hear running away, aggression, withdrawing, which is a isolation and depression, tantrums. Anybody child throw tantrums? Crying a lot, throwing objects, you know, being resistant, talking back, you know, name all of these behaviors. And we know a lot of us, I don't know if everybody ever seen the iceberg. We probably have seen it, and it's so powerful because only thing we see is the top. Anybody ever just stopped and say and see what's under there? You know, when we look back, it was a time, do we actually feel safe? And I thought about that, safety, protection. When I look back, my daughter did not feel that. You know, I used to go to the school and she always got called. She was doing something all the time in high school. And I would go up there and say, I'm tired of you embarrassing me. See, it was all about me. I wasn't thinking about what she was going through. They called me again? Really? This is embarrassing to me. I wasn't sitting there, and she's sitting up there probably thinking, she still don't see. She still don't get it because she never was taught how to express herself in positive ways because We didn't do that growing up. You know, we came from the era kids to be seen and not heard. Anybody came from there?
Robin said she was raised that children are to be seen and not heard. So we had no voice as children. I tried to make sure my boys knew what I knew what my boys thought and felt and said was, I tried to make sure that my boys knew what they thought, felt, and said was always important. And I listened, but at the end of the day, the decision was mine. And Lauren says, I learned in my career with children that every behavior is the result of an unmet need. And it changed the way I thought about caring for kiddos.
Wow.
And Robin said, I agree, Lauren. And Felicia said, that's so true.
Wow, that is so true. It'll change. It will change. And when you doing it as a job or other people, kids you take in, it's challenging because you have to, and we know that when especially foster care kids and different things, kids gonna find out everybody wants to be loved. Even if they don't know what that is, they want a good feeling. And so if they never had that, the people who's supposed to love me the most in my mind was my parents, or and I was abandoned, or these things, or what I seen. So now someone else is trying to help with the kids. And it's a fight sometimes, because soon when I start feeling safe or I start feeling loved or protected, either someone come and get me, or that person didn't had enough, and then I go back to, I knew it. You said you love me, but you you didn't take all this, because we don't understand. And that's what I'm learning even in this field. A lot of, as a parent partner, you know, I fight for parents now and foster parents now, because, you know, people on the other end think, you know, they just doing this, or the adults are doing this. I said, you know, it's something. First of all, we have to learn these things. I didn't know these things. Who thought about it when we just looked at behaviors? Who thought about it just and stopped and said, well, you know what? They just don't feel safe. Oh, they just need love. No, you know, they stealing out your house. They cursing you out. We ain't gonna think about none of this. We just see the behaviors. So learning these things as the parents now, are you having small kids? If the kids are small, you have such a greater chance, because every year seeds grows. Let me put that. If you see aggression in a child at 2 or 3, it's not going to just go away. So it might, but we take a big chance. But you got to understand, okay, I see this at 2. And now I'm just whooping, I'm just screaming, I'm just that. You know what happened at 4? That seed then grew another year. At 5, now that child is about 12 or 13. They're out of control. I worked in gang intervention now, and they sent us a paper years ago and said they know by time a child is 8 years old to have a prison bed waiting for them. 8. I said 8. Wait a minute, that's 3rd grade. You mean to tell me you'll know by the time a child is 8 years old if they on their way to prison? Something's wrong. So something is missing. So parents, you know, okay, we can go to the next slide, because I know time is running. You know, these are just, when you just look at this, don't even have to go over, it's just a slide of characters. When you don't understand, it's just so many characters, but I don't see it clear on my end. But I just wanted us to look at it, because it says what character is on your tree, which one you will want to get, because there's someone here that's not so good. So you got to look.
It's fuzzy to me too. Dee, is there some reason for that?
The words on the slides are tiny, so and they're from a picture. I have to enlarge them. It might take a moment for it to be a little bit clearer. Otherwise, we have the website afterward.
Okay, well, we could just talk about, well, we just know it's certain characters. When you look at it, again, this is a self-evaluation. That's what we as parents just do sometimes. Let's do a self-evaluate. What characters that I have that I just don't want, or I just want to change, that I'm carrying on from my parents, because many of us probably say, I'm not gonna do, I ain't raising my kid like I was raising. You'll find out you got some of those characters. Sometimes we become what we hate or we didn't like, and so sometimes we gotta look. I had a character of being mean. So let's talk about that. I love all the good things, but let's just look in our hearts and say, okay, I don't like this character. Every character got to be replaced. There's always an opposite. Nothing runs off positive and negative. Everything runs. When you go in your car, that battery has a positive and a negative post, and that's how the car runs. And so I had to look at that. What's in me that I don't like, and it's okay, or I want to change, and that's okay. We change our hair colors. People did plastic surgery. We do all these things because it's something either we don't like, or we're not comfortable, or somebody didn't call us names. I'm too light, I'm too dark, I'm too whatever that is. It's something we have to look inside of ourselves and say, wow, what is this? What character is in me that I do like, I don't like? If I have hatred, what is the opposite of that? Is love. If I have, short temper, temperance, whatever that is. And the reason that I'm saying it, because again, your children, and we always hear this story, I don't know if you ever heard it, especially sons want to walk in their father's footsteps. And anytime I tell a parent, I ask a parent, would you want your child to be you? If you say no, then that means you have to make some changes. Not that it's bad, because our kids sometimes gonna be us. My daughter was her dad, my son, and I said, wow, I chose their dad, and different things. And so we have to think about these things, whatever characters in us, if we don't like, it's okay to make changes. And I hear people say, well, this is the way I've been all my life, but do you like it? If you like yourself being mean, stay that way. If you like yourself not having patience and understanding, but then you want people to understand you, so this is, again, these are the seeds. This is your garden now. I want you to draw a picture, not today, later on, just get a board and say, I'm going to draw my garden, and what's in there. You're going to start saying, oh my God, oh wow, okay. So next line.
Robin says we should never stop working on improving who we are. There's always room for growth.
Always.
I like the
part
where you said there's also sometimes acceptance of people, with their positive and negative traits is also good, instead of like including yourself, like to say, yes, I want to work on this, but I love myself also the way I am, because it's very hard to, if you're always working on something so that you can be good enough to be loved, or so that you can, then that can, be
right.
a problem too.
Always a work, always just improving yourself every day, every day. Do evaluation of yourself every week and say, oh, okay, and I know there's no perfect person, perfect, but what I do say, perfect in the spiritual realm mean mature. It's okay to look in the mirror and say, wow, okay, I didn't like that I said that this week. Correct ourselves sometimes. I didn't like that, because again, we are planting seeds for our children, for our nieces, nephews, whomever that is. When people, I know people think I'm crazy when I say this. I don't like role model. I admire people accomplishment, because when you use that role model with children, they're going to want to model that person. Because I have seen great people with great accomplishment, then you look on the news, they beat their wives, they drag, like whatever. So I don't want to give the impression to any child that, this is a role model. Long as I'm successful making money, it's okay if I'm an abuser, or I'm a drug addict, or a different thing. So the words that I do, I say, admire people accomplishment. You can be whatever you want to be, not that person, because we all make mistakes. Everything is age appropriate, and that give a clear understanding, because when you put people on a pedestal and they can't reach it, what happens? So we got to be very careful. So this is planting a seed. I don't know of the protective factors. I wish we can go, because that would take too long. I just put that in there because this is something I do study. Is very important. That word resilient is very important. Resilient just means to bounce back. You've been through some ups and downs, and you didn't give up. That's that parental resilience. Everybody has a story. My story I just told, that was a story of resilience. Everybody has a story. I used to feel like I was a failure for so long. My family probably didn't even know that. I think I was just talking to them about it. I failed everything, relationship, my children, one in prison, one in gangs. I mean, all these mistakes, but I kept going, and God let me know that that was in the plan, because I had to work for you. And I changed it around, and they're going to be all right. And have those relationships, those natural support. Family, you should have a friend or a church or something. Those relationships you build. Everybody needs support, rich, poor, black, white, whatever. Everybody needs some type of support in their lives. That communication, learning what we've been talking about, how to do that social and the most social skills is very important. That's just how to get along with people. People just don't even know how to get along. Look at the world today. It was a time where growing up, neighbors could get everybody kids. They see me cutting up down the street, that neighbor was able to, baby, today you scared to say anything to people, kids, because the parents gonna come and curse you out. And now we're in the world of mess. Those concrete support, agencies going through different things. If you need help, there's so many different agencies and resources, and wisdom and knowledge of parenting. It's okay, because I didn't used to go to parent. Nobody wants to go to parent. Well, I can't say, that's too broad. When you mention parenting classes to people, the first thing sometimes come in our mind, you said I'm not a good parent. You said, no, I teach parenting today. Somebody who came from feeling like a failure. Look what today I teach parenting. Start my own parenting business now. I'm like, wow, somebody like me. Yeah, it's okay to want to know more about parenting. I'm not saying this is not about bad parenting. Just want to learn more to build and plant those seeds. Okay, go to the next slide. And look at this. I seen this house online, and I thought this was just a great picture of, is your home built on a solid rock or sinking sand? And that's what I'm saying, building those strong foundation in your home, because we all know storms come. Look what we're dealing with, even in our children, because whatever parents are going through, the kids are going through too. I deal with families that are homeless, and sometimes it's the parents don't do us right. But the thing about it, if a parent get kicked out, the child does too. So, so build your house. It goes back like the three little bears, build your house. I mean, pigs, I'm sorry. Build your house on that, because when things come, that's that resilience part. You would know how to bounce back. That house won't slide. Don't build your house on sand. Sometimes you look up in the mountains where people got their houses built. I don't know, maybe they trying to get away. And then when the rain and storm come, it starts sliding because it's built on sand. So build those, start planting those seeds, planting it and water them and nurture them again. So when these things happen, even in children, you say, what they got to do with children? A lot. Because that's what you're building in them right now. You are planting seeds. As every year they're growing up, you watering, you planting, you that. So they know. So even when things happen in their life, they know how to make decisions. They know who want their child staying with them at they 35 and your child staying with you, not doing nothing, and you looking like, really, I'm working hard, really. It's something, those tears of joy when they walk across that stage in that of college or even the 12th grade and different things. It was a blessing just when young men in our family just graduated, because we had so many of them joining gangs, and not saying they bad. I love my family, not saying none of that, but we didn't understand there was something they was looking in and needed. And this is, so build your house so when the storm comes. Okay, next slide. I see the time. This is some look, and there go when the wind come and blow. You see those roots? You see that picture? They blowing, and look, that tree is bending. But one thing, just don't break. Just don't break. Speak to it, nurture it. Go back to that. Just the patience and all of that. It works. This is not about being a perfect parent. Kids just want the best parent, the best of you. That's all. If you tired and sometimes we get home or whatever with all this kids understand. I'm talking about a 3-year-old, 4-year-old. They understand so much more than we think. Just give mama just 5 minutes. If you give, your mama just want to hear your story. She just want to do it. Whatever that is, you'll be amazed how just 10 minutes. And I tell parents, I know technology and all this thing is going on. Use a little timer when they're young and say, when you hear this buzzer go off, mommy coming, she gonna want to hear everything you got to say. She want to see what you did, whatever that looks like, and that's teaching them no matter what's coming on in their life as they get older, they're gonna be able to have resilience. They roots are not gonna break. That tree is bending. I don't care how hard that man is blowing, he cannot break that tree. He cannot break that foundation. It's bending, but soon when he stop blowing, you know what that tree gonna do? It's gonna stand right back up. It's like that palooka dog. Anybody had that dog where the sand was at the bottom? No matter how hard you hit that thing, when you turn back around, you look up, it was standing back up. You got to be like that palooka dog. No matter how hard, just stand back up. The next slide. This is, I call learn through play activities with your children. There's many things that I'm working on, a learn through playbook. That's something I do with parents. So there's many activities that I making up, and some that we already know, old things. We see something called truth bingo, because I was working with a teenager. I am in a family that is not going that underlying need, and they don't know how to conversate. So I said, let's do a lot of things, learn through play, through activities, to build that connection, to build that trust, to understand. And so I made a truth bingo game. And what it is just many questions on there, and you use it just like bingo. Write questions on the index card. What makes you happy is learning each other. And then when they turn that card over, then if that's on there, then you put it on there. I know time is running out. I wish I could talk more, but this is very important.
We can have you back, Sandra. We can have you back. We can have you back. The whole webinar on playing with your activities with your children and ideas where we go from there. This is great. So yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's very blurry for me now. I apologize to everybody for the quality of this. It's never happened before, so I don't really know. But I'm asking everybody to join us coming up. Thursday's laughing. Tomorrow is a corrective perspective on trauma, and then dangers of social media on Friday. Stephanie says this has been her favorite one so far.
Thank you.
Just so you know.
Thank you.
Next slide, Dee, please. What do we want to amplify from what Sandra has said, or what Sandra has been teaching, has been putting out? What do we want to amplify? More perfect union. Put it in the chat. If you like these webinars, please go online to Be Strong Family's website and donate. This week, we have a donor who will, if we can raise $1,000, he will match the $1,000. So every little bit helps. $5, $10. If you like the content, we need your support.
Okay.
And next slide, Dee, please. Let's wear your mask. We have some beautiful ones, although it's very blurry right now. And again, Sandra came from the community, for the community, by the community. If you want to do a webinar, get in touch with me. And Sandra, we will do this again in the new year. Let's do one on the last part, those last five.
Okay.
Okay. With your kids.
Okay.
And I want to thank everybody for being here. Thanks especially to Sandra for giving us such a wonderful presentation. And we'll see you all next time.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank everyone. Thank you.
You're getting a lot of love in the chat.
Oh, well, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. God's blessing to you and your family, Sandra. Really enjoyed this training. Best one. Awesome. So thank you very much, Sandra. And tell me when you're free in the new year, and we'll do part 2 of what
okay. Thank you. Thank you, Kathy, for your help. Thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Okay.